Today on the Stay-at-Home Chef, I'm showing you how to make a decadent s'mores pie. This ain't no cheater s'mores pie either. We're making from scratch goodness that is going to be divine. We'll start with a homemade graham cracker crust, move on to a homemade fudge filling, and finally top it off with a sweet Italian meringue that tastes just like marshmallow. You are going to love it. We'll go ahead and start with our crust. You'll need 1.5 cups of crushed graham cracker. Get that into a mixing bowl, along with 1/3 cup of sugar, and then 6 tablespoons of melted butter. And toss this all together with a fork until everything is moistened. And that is it for the crust. Graham cracker crusts are super easy. Next, you'll need a pie plate, and you want a regular sized one, not a deep dish, just a regular size. You'll transfer all of your crust ingredients in there. Make sure you get everything. And then press it into the bottom and onto the sides of the pie plate. And I like to work my way around the edges and clean it up a little bit so it has a nice, clean finish to the crust. Bake your crust in a 375-degree oven for about 6 minutes, then pull it out and let it cool. Meanwhile, we're going to head on over to the stove and start cooking our hot fudge filling. In a saucepan over medium-high heat, add in 1/2 cup of butter, 2 cups of sugar, 2/3 cup of chocolate chips, 1/3 cup of cocoa powder, and 1 can of evaporated milk. Let everything melt and come to a boil, and then reduce the heat to medium-low and keep cooking for another 7 minutes, stirring constantly. After 7 minutes, remove the saucepan from the heat and stir in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then take your hot fudge and pour it all into a blender. Then we're going to pop the lid on, and then we're going to blend this for 2 whole minutes. Now, since it's hot, you want to make sure that you have venting up top. Otherwise, the heat will cause pressure to build up, and you may have an explosive mess on your hands. So we'll blend this for 2 minutes. Once it's done blending, simply pour all that hot fudge directly onto your baked pie crust. Let the pie cool for a bit and then pop it into the fridge to cool off completely before moving on to the last step, which is to make your sweet Italian meringue. To make your meringue, get a small saucepan heating over medium-high heat and add in 1 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of water. Give this a stir and continue heating it until it reaches 240 degrees Fahrenheit. While that's coming to temperature, I'm going to start whipping some egg whites. I have 4 egg whites that are at room temperature. Those whip the best. I'm going to pour that into the bowl of my stand mixer, along with 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar, which will help stabilize the egg whites. And then I'm going to get this beating, and I'm going to let this continue to beat until the egg whites reach a soft peak, not a stiff peak. Now you can see soft peaks because when you pull it up, a little peak will form, but it will soon collapse back on itself. Now at this point, our syrup over there should be just about at 240 degrees. So I'm going to grab that, give it a final check here with the thermometer, and we should see this go right up to 240 degrees, which is exactly where we want it to be. There it is. We'll bring this over to the egg whites and we'll get our mixer going again. We'll get it going a little bit faster and then slowly pour the simple syrup in with the egg whites in a nice slow, steady stream. Let this mixture beat until stiff peaks form, which will take about 90 seconds. Then I'm going to scoop this directly on top of my chilled pie. Spread it out. You want to cover the top and then dab on it to get nice little peaks and mounds. Now the great thing about Italian meringue is that it can be eaten plain. You don't have to bake it. But since this is a s'mores pie, we want to give it that nice toasted look. So you can either use a torch or pop it into your oven under the broiler setting. In the broil setting, the heat comes from above. So that flame up there is going to toast off our meringue. It should really only take a couple of minutes to toast, so keep a close eye on it so it doesn't burn. Once it's done, you're ready to eat. Thanks for watching. You can find the full written recipe in the video description. Be sure to subscribe and check out the rest of my channel where you can find hundreds of restaurant quality recipes you can easily make at home. See you later.